Good afternoon, and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. But spookier! As usual, I am your host, Mike. Hello! And we're going to be playing some Last Epoch. It's Halloween today. We're having some fun. We're dressed up. We're once again wearing a costume that says on the box, for fits all ages up to 24 months. But we got it on. Apparently my neck is about the same size as a toddler's torso. And we got our wings. We got our wings. There we go. Look at that. And our lovely helmet here. Behold my true form. And yeah, we're just gonna play. I did do a little housekeeping. If this is your first time here, this is not what I usually look like. Usually I'm in a much more crazy outfit. And we stream for charity. It's above my head right there. So anything that comes in from the stream goes directly to them. We are playing Last Epoch, answering some questions. And yeah, if you have a question, please put at Last Epoch Game in the chat or on YouTube at Last Epoch. We are trying to do both again this time. We had some problems last week with it. Oh, these wings are not staying. It was working. The back of the hat is making the wings fold together. How dare it? I didn't actually try them both on at the same time. There's wings back there. Oh, it's okay. We did a little upgrading. We tried to upgrade our boots. We didn't get move speed on it, but they're so much tankier that we're gonna roll with it. And I did some reworking on some idle stuff a little bit too. And I've prepped a relic upgrade that we're gonna do this stream as well. I'm gonna try and find something better to slap in it, but we'll see what happens. Got a couple options that I crafted on. Oh, how's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Wow, we are a lot slower actually because we lost movement speed on our boots. Yeah, that is that's noticeable. That hurts. But I feel like just not dying might be faster than running faster. So we'll see what happens. Enough? We do have enough. Dang it. It's okay. We got a couple that are worthwhile rolling on anyways. We're gonna keep grabbing those until we find the grail of it. Yeah, we're down an evade charge and about 10% movement speed, which isn't huge. But like between the two of them, it makes a substantial difference. Oh, hey, look at that. This is great. This is something else we've been looking for. It's almost perfectly rolled. Okay, this is fantastic. Fantastic. We got two things we're gonna do. We're gonna go straight to we are gonna go straight to the temporal sanctum after this echo. We're gonna make a new. Yes. So I realized last stream that our defenses for crit avoidance and reduced damage taken from crits was not. Neither one of them were capped. You're supposed to cap one, not the other, and they're both high, but neither are capped. So we're going for reduced damage taken from crits, which is why we switched out to these boots that has that on the implicit. And part of the reason we're doing this idle is because it has it on there as well. So we're getting there. We're converting over, which means we can change out this ring, get rid of the crit avoidance. I think we also have a blessing that's crit avoidance right now too. Whoa. The blessings, there they are. Which one's crit avoidance? There we go. Yeah, so we'll replace that as well. We got some stuff to do. We got some stuff to do. We are improving our build. We're gonna get there. I do think that this is gonna turn into an it's gonna be required to shift to an A-bomb build to actually get Uberoth down, which is fine. Not what we wanted to do, but we'll take it. All right, we got some questions coming in, I think, at some point here. We're going to start answering them. Barbarians don't sound like that, Mike. You are correct. They do not. I hope you're okay that I'm not dressed up as a barbarian. I really just didn't want to get your hopes up of that coming anytime soon. I am dressed representing things that are coming, and it's a hodgepodge of multiple things, so it's not just one thing. And even people who are on the team watching are probably like, I'm not sure what you're referring to, Mike, because I started planning this costume approximately 24 hours ago. Apparently I just like wearing tutus as collars. All right, let's get some questions rolling here. Any news on the updated roadmap? If not, can we get that in next week, please and thank you? I ask for it every week. I have no idea why it's not coming yet. I have no control over when it will be here. Hopefully soon. I'm sorry. All right. We're gonna go. This. I also. Oh, look at this! 3 empty tabs. Oh yes. This is going to be for the gloves, because we've got a Joel's Obsession ready to go here. Ooh, our lightning res is already tight. That's going to take a hit. That would probably be okay. We can probably make that lightning res up. We'll do this one. Void res should be fine. We're going to have to just put anything in here. Literally anything in there. I'm gonna do that one. Yeah, so we've got some relics here. They're gonna go in one of these 2 relics, and then we're gonna do these gloves into probably this one, and roll with it. Ooh, what level are they? This is a mistake. I always forget to check. They are level 75 and level 36. So we can do some easy ones first. All right, with the linear scaling of corruption, we have this logarithmic scaling of difficulty, which can be very unintuitive. Have you considered making the scaling exponential to have the difficulty scale more linearly? I don't think exponential. So yes, we've considered this. My thoughts on this consideration consist of that I agree with the premise that linear scaling is not ideal for the scaling of difficulty corruption. For the scaling of the difficulty of corruption, I do not think that linear scaling is ideal. Me personally, and I think that there is. I think that the way to fix that is to make the scaling, increase as it goes up. So like the difference between 1 and 2 corruption and difficulty is smaller than the difference in 100 and 101 corruption in difficulty. So that as you go up, the jumps are bigger each individual corruption you get. I think like exponentially, what people think of mostly of exponential, like a really typical exponential curve, I think that would be too extreme. So I think something more in the quadratic range would be better, but like, yeah, we'll see if anything like that can happen. I'd really like to. Okay, we're having a tough time with mana Already I can feel it. It's okay. Okay, we are gonna go get our... Nope. Why does it strip the color off that? Alright. We're gonna do the gloves first. Now here's the question. Do we roll these and try and get them up to 30? We've got 36 forging potential. It's a lot of cracks at it. It's one off perfect already. Do we go for it? Not worth the risk? All right, we're going with the first reply, not worth the risk. Yay! Yeah, 7%. So yeah, our lightning res was huge in this one, but 7% extra melee attack speed for our minions is well worth it, I think. And the extra spell damage, not nothing. Not nothing. Kind of something. Hey Mike, happy Halloween. Happy Halloween to you too. I'm excited to go trick-or-treating later. With a little one, not just me. It's not weird, I promise. It's a little weird. All right. In keeping with the theme of Halloween and costumes, are you able to share some of the general feedback the community gave regarding the cosmetics? I personally really like them, but I know you guys are looking for feedback on them. I haven't read the feedback. I'm not involved with developing the cosmetics at all, so I wasn't... that wasn't something I was overly... Oh, this is so itchy. That wasn't something I was spending my time looking at feedback for. I usually spend time looking at feedback for gameplay stuff. I think that I would just go to the thread that was there. Like, most of it came in through that thread, I think. I think that there was... From what I saw in that thread, there was, I think, a fair bit of stuff that was like, I really want to see this specific theme show up in my, in like cosmetics. There's some specific theme that someone really likes, and they want to see that theme represented better in cosmetics. And then there was also, I think, a lot of general things of like, oh, it's like we need things that are more rooted in realism and is cool looking, and then the other end of the spectrum of things that are more incredibly flashy and really out there. I think those like what I guess the responses probably were. We're gonna do this one first, and we're gonna put this one into it. Oh my goodness. Okay, we've got our health regen. We're just hoping we don't... We're hoping we hit the minion damage with it. That's what's happening here. Okay. Yeah, first try. That's what I'm talking about right there. All right. Didn't even need to do the other one. Really wish I knew where those points went. There. Probably there. Oh, it was probably there actually. Whoops. Definitely there. And there. There. And probably there. All right. Necrotic resistance. Necrotic resistance does scale off this, which is good to get more ward per second. So our ward did just drop by like 70 when we did that, but our health went up by like 200, so that's better. And minion damage and health regen. We're over 3,000 health. Can you believe it? We're almost at 4,000 combined. Ah! All right. Back to it. Let's see what we can do. We're gonna try and increase the value of this. I think that's our plan here. This is so itchy. This is what it's supposed to be, by the way. Yeah. Hopefully this bit's not dragging on too much, but I think it's good. Let's just bump it up. Let's just go right up to the top and see how we do. Because like that was the big thing, is we were just getting cracked on the head and dying. Okay. I see a question coming in. I will answer that in a second. If you have any questions, please ask those in chat, and I will get to them as quickly as I can. Still a little too close to the sun there. Yeah. Okay, maybe we're not quite ready for that. That's fine. That's fine. I'll answer this question. Would EHG adventure beyond just magic skills? Maybe look at doing advanced tech skills, or is that something outside the theme of the game? I think that's outside of the theme of the game. Really, we've kind of put a line in the sand at like hand carried gunpowder. So like, I know there's like something that implies gunpowder. And I think there's like a cannon somewhere, so it implies that gunpowder exists, sort of thing. But that's sort of like where the technology sort of stopped as soon as like humanity was forced into basically this as the entire empire of humanity remaining, and most of this is overrun. Where like this is kind of the last little bit of what humanity can exist in. You know, technology kind of grinds to a halt. So, yeah, there's not really anything past that for tech. It is a time travel game, and like this is sort of the something we debated quite a bit is, are we going to ever add tech to Last Epoch? I don't think so. It's not impossible. It's not like a hard no. It's not like never going to happen or anything like that. But I think it would like. I think it's one of those things that once high tech and magic exist in the same world, it's hard not to combine the two. Like I think often magic represents a replacement for like high tech stuff, or high tech stuff represents a replacement for magic stuff. But I'd always want to put them together at the same time and be like, here's a high tech magic user. Like why not both? I feel like that would be an unfair advantage, you know? Poison duration. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Happy Halloween. Love the costume. Thank you very much. I have a question about holiday events. Yes, we'd love to. For example, a Halloween event. Can you ever see LE putting in holiday events? Yeah. And if yes, do you believe they would be lore relevant? Opposed to, let's say, a bunch of pumpkin stuff just because it's Halloween. Yeah, it's a good question. I can see us doing a holiday themed event. So like, you know, like you do like you could do like a fall theme and a winter theme and like a summer theme. Like I feel like you could do things like that. Because yeah, there's a lot of, the game is global as far as like who interacts with it. And not all the holidays are rooted in global traditions. So yeah, I think it would be a tough thing for us to decide on exactly. The easy thing is to do the non-diegetic stuff where it's like Halloween, Christmas, and like actual like specific holidays, and not just an in-universe themed holiday. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. We haven't got this far on it. I think if I was going to decide personally, I would probably want to have a in-universe holiday adjacent theme. So like maybe it's not specifically Halloween, maybe there's like something similar that like clearly references Halloween, and it's like but it's like Eterra's version of it. I think that would probably be the best way to do it. I don't know. Pumpkins and stuff is just fun as well, so maybe that's good. I don't know, some of my favorite memories playing like original Guild Wars, things like that, is in those events, like snowball fights. There was some snowball fight where you had to like, the original Guild Wars had some special PvP mode around Christmas, and you had to like, there was some achievement you had to get that was really hard. I remember grinding it for just like days on end trying to get this one achievement. No idea what it was though. If anyone else took part in that, let me know. It's also tricky because like, because the different eras, like when is like, you can't really do an ancient era tradition for a holiday that's based around a like ruined era time, and like would ruined era even have time and resources to have holidays and things like that? Like you're in survival mode. So in-theme versions of things might be a little tricky. Any thoughts on new cosmetics? Yeah, we do new cosmetics every season. We've got more coming next season. We'll have some teasers for those coming up as well. Yeah. Yeah, they'll always be in the, so yeah, any coming soon, or they already planned for near future. So we almost always drop cosmetics specifically with a large event at the same time. So the primary event being a season release, you know, like a major patch, a season update, you know, gets cosmetic release to go with it. It's possible that if we, going back to the last question, ever did any sort of like holiday themed event, something like that, we could probably would release cosmetics to go with it. My inventory button is the tilde key or back quote key, and the my potion key is number 1. So sometimes when you see my inventory open like that, it's because I've just accidentally hit it with my finger. Dang it. Yeah, give me more damage reduction from crits. Come on. You know you want to, game. We also made some slight adjustments on our passives here. Heavier investment here and here. Pulled some stuff out of this. Pulled some stuff out of this. Pulled this point out. So we're reworking our passives a little bit. Alright. I'm looking for some drop tables and their rates. I'm sorry they don't exist. Any possibility they can be eased up a bit? I'm looking at some drop tables and their rates. Any possibility they can be eased up a bit instead of 1 in 2 million chance? So just for the record, we've never officially released the chances of any specific item dropping, or the rate that the chance for the LP to happen on them. That's never been released. Just as a broad statement. I'm not saying that the information that you may find on websites is wrong, because it may be correct. I'm not attempting to pass judgment on that, but just so you know, it's not something that we've actually officially released. So the rates that those are there at is, this is a pretty big topic. And the rates that are there is specifically to balance the power level of certain uniques against each other. So there are certain uniques that are incredibly powerful at their base, and the ability to slap 4 additional, potentially T7, unlikely, mods on them to increase their power level even more would make a way more uniques completely irrelevant. So there are certain uniques that are, one of their strengths is that they may have some nice mod on them. They don't have a ton of power budget elsewhere, but they have like a really low LPL, legendary potential level. So they have a really high chance of getting legendary potential on them. Do we have any LP4? We do. There we go. There's Boulder Fist. So Boulder Fist is a very low power item. It's not really that good. It has a pretty big downside to it as well. And because of that, it has a higher chance of getting legendary potential on it. This means that this item can fight for a spot in a build against an item that maybe like where 2 LP is a better thing for it, or like LP1. There's certain things where like certain items that are, it's much rarer to get LP on them, and that's very intentional. So when you see those numbers where it's like 1 in 2 million chance to get them, it's kind of us saying like the item is good already and it doesn't need to be stacked with a huge bunch of legendary affixes to be really great. So that's usually what's happening there. There is, I think the argument that I would hope would be most successful would be that the items that have unreasonably rare chances to drop at that legendary potential should be removed from possibility of dropping at all. That's what I'd like to see personally. I do that opinion is not shared widely, and so I don't expect it to happen anytime soon. But that's what I hope ends up happening. But I've been hoping that for years now. And I do not expect it. Oh, last one. Hey, that's 4%. We'll take it. We'll take it. What are we up to? Reduce 89%. We're almost there. With 91% avoidance, like it's fine. It's very unlikely that a rogue crit is just going to take us out now, but still it will happen. All right. Do you personally think melee is in a good spot overall in LE, not just in regards to damage, but more so towards balancing increased danger of having to get close to do damage? I think yes, I do. However, big asterisk there beside that answer. Do I think it's as good as it could be? No. Do I think there's room for improvement? Yes. I'd really like to see more mechanical changes happening in specifically in boss fights. So like, I don't know, when certain bosses are able to like determine if an enemy is ranged or melee easier and adapt their moveset better to what they're facing, I think would be ideal. We don't really have much in that way. We do have certain things where it'll say like it'll only use certain abilities if the player is a certain minimum distance away, or also maximum distance away too. So like we can take an ability, a boss, and say like, okay, if you are, we can take a boss and be like, okay, if you're standing like inside this ring, it'll do an attack that deals 1 damage, and if you're inside this ring, it'll do an attack that deals 5 damage, and if you're in this ring out here, it'll do an attack that does 40 damage. And so we can do things like that, and we do have things like that happen, that cause like harder hitting stuff to shoot outwards, or we have things that'll force you into melee range, like Heorot's fight, where it's like there's just like a gigantic blizzard out here, and if you stand out there, you're gonna die, so you got to come into melee anyways. So we have mechanics that happen like that quite a bit. I don't think they quite offset the danger difference yet. Because what range really represents a lot of the time is flexibility. Sorcerer, not so much, because there's a lot of like minimum range and things that scale off of range in there. So they sort of lose that flexibility a bit as well, but then they do gain the durability in the sense that you can avoid attacks easier because you have more time to dodge them. And it's usually just less chaotic in what you can see on the ground around you. The visual clarity is easier at range too. Yeah, so I think we do take some good steps towards balancing that, but yeah, there's room for improvement there still. I think ground effects are really hard to see in melee, like in this situation here where there's like a ton of minions and just like a ton of stuff going on, or if you're in melee really frequently, it's sometimes hard to tell if there's like if you're standing in the fire or not, sort of thing. So that might be a way to like improve the experience, is to having like might sound weird, like a little exclamation mark that pops up over your head, or like some sort of like, when you take a bunch of damage when like this is open. Let's take some damage with a menu open. Come on, take some damage, please. Please, can I have some damage? Okay, well the screen glows red. You guys know what it looks like. Here we go. Anything good? Not for us. That's okay. Mike, will any uniques for the net caltrops in the season 4? Maybe. We haven't done many of the uniques yet for season 4. There's like a handful of them that have been designed, but at most at this point, and even fewer that have actually been implemented. So I don't know. If you'd like to see one, I'm here for that. That works for me. Put it in the suggestions channel, and maybe we'll look at it and be like, hey, that's a good idea. Maybe we'll make it. If you are gonna, just like a tip, if you just in general, if you are putting suggestions for an item into the suggestions channels, the best way, if you want to increase the odds of your idea getting picked and getting used, I'll give you a few tips for. Thanks, Infertile Odin's wife. Glad you like it. There's wings. If you want tips on how to get your idea picked, this is what I'd recommend. Start with a clear bottom-up or top-down design, and do not complete the design. This is the short version. So you want to have either like a really strong theming idea behind it. So like, what's a really strong theming idea that we could come up with for an item? I guess we just use one. I guess like. I kind of want to do something that's ridiculous. But yeah, so yeah, where the core theme is the important part, where you're like, I really want to embody this character and things like that. I want to like embody the Emperor and have lightning shoot out of my hand, sort of thing. And I think that's a really good place to start, but not finishing the details of it. So where you're not getting into the specific nitty gritties on like how that's happening, where you're like, here's a theming idea that I want you to figure out how to make it work. Or you have a really strong specific mechanic where you're like, then that's what this example is. Like, I want a specific, like I want nets to do this thing. I want caltrops to do this thing. Something specific, something very narrow, something detailed that you leave open. So you don't put like, oh, this item also needs to have dexterity, and this item also needs to have attack speed and move speed. You want to put like just one line, pick one line out of it. Like with this, it would be the this stats on this item apply to your minions. Like that's all you'd be like, a pair of like some item that the stats apply to your minions, and then it can get like LP on it as well, and you can put those stats on it as well. Like there you go, done. That's the nugget of an idea that would be really good for making as a suggestion. We need to get a 2LP version of this that has mana on it as well, because our mana is struggling right now. No, Derek, I'm not a dinosaur, but that's kind of what the hat looks like. It was slim pickings for options, but I'm not a dinosaur. We already had the dinosaur season, okay? Can you discuss any strategies around keeping player retention higher throughout the season? Any cool ideas you've come up with? Make a more fun game that lasts longer for people to play and keep enjoying and keep having fun. Just better, bigger, longer content that's still fun for longer. Just gotta keep having fun. It's all about more fun and more longer fun. Worst wording of an answer ever. Yeah, like I don't personally participate in the like company level discussions. More in the design side of things and how to make individual mechanics fun. And so I think that's one of the key things really for us is just trying to make mechanics that are fun and continue to be fun and continue to engage with for just more time to just keep having fun with it. That's really the thing, is it's not about like locking a player in for longer. It's about making sure players having fun. And I think if you're making sure a player's having fun, like they'll play more, you know? I think maybe the other half of it is the other half of that coin is also just removing like really feels bad, like removing rage quit moments. I think that would be another big thing. So that like, you know, you're making a build, you're looking through skill trees and you picked out a skill and an interaction you really want to have happen, and you build it up, you build towards it, and suddenly you get there and realize it doesn't work, or just it's not clear enough and didn't work the way you thought it should work, things like that. I think removing those moments is another really big piece. So instead of just having fun, removing like rage moments as well. I think the fire proliferation, air quotes because it wasn't actually proliferation, primordial unique that came this season, I think was a big source of that for a lot of people. Where it was this like plan for it to work one way, and surprise, it doesn't. It just wasn't obvious enough that that's the way it would work, because it was working the way it was supposed to work. It just wasn't clear enough in its description so that it was obvious that that's the way it would work. Also, it was fairly weak as well, which didn't help. Right. I fully thought I was safe, and I just dive off her. I didn't even realize I activated it. That's crazy. I looked over at chat and took my hands were literally in my pockets. That's funny. Okay. We'll just load this bad boy back up. Don't forget the season, the character sheet rework when you've been making all that extra long, extra fun content. Yeah, it's a beast to work on still. Mike, a new weapon in season 4, maybe the claws. There's no new base types coming, like no new like how do I say it properly so everyone understands what I'm talking about? So like two-handed axe, two-handed spear, one-handed axe. But there's no new category. There's nothing new that like fits in. Ah, come on. Really? It used to work. kind of worked a little bit, sort of. So there's nothing that like goes in this line here that's new. Like we may put new one-handed swords in. So like this is a crystal sword. So maybe like a diamond sword. I don't know. It's not actually a thing we're doing, but like we could add new one-handed swords, but we're not adding a new category of weapon this season. All right. Yeah, we can do this if we're like using the computer and not letting it play itself. Oh, we've got a special named one, Gorilla. There's Gorilla. Say hi to Gorilla, everybody. I love it when you get special name ones. In regards to various forms of stat stacking nodes for high amounts of more damage, it seems for a skill to be good, in general, it typically needs a stat stacking node. My question is, why do the nodes that have no limit on the scaling damage end get capped? Why do the nodes that have no limit on the scaling damage end to get capped? I tend to get capped. I think it's supposed to be tend to get capped. Is it because of too much reward, more damage with no downside? Yeah. If you it means that if you have, so say you have something that says this is a close example I can think of, but it's defense, not damage, but instead, so this one says 1 ward per second per 3% uncapped necrotic resistance. So if this was +1 melee physical damage per 3% uncapped necrotic resistance. That means that we now have to forever make sure that we're not adding something to the game that says, so necrotic resistance is a stat that unless something else scales off of it, there is no harm in us putting a stat, like a node in a passive tree that says 4 billion % necrotic resistance. That stat would be totally fine to put in the game if it wasn't for something like this. So this helmet right here prevents us from putting that node in the game. Now, it's not an insane amount of stuff, and having a lot of necrotic resistance has to go really ridiculous for this to like really get out of hand and all that sort of stuff. So it's not that big of a danger. But if it's damage, if it's just like 1% more damage per 1% necrotic resistance and it's uncapped, suddenly necrotic resistance is the same as 1% more damage, and we have to treat it as such in every other thing we make in the game from then on. If we put a cap on that, especially for damage, then we don't ever have to really worry about that scaling as much becoming broken in the future. So it basically just, it's preventing us from having tech debt that is makes making the game take longer in the future. And we have missed those before, and they've caused problems before. So we try to put this on there so that we know that we say like, okay, this node, even if it's really good, but by putting a cap on this node, we know that this node is never going to exceed X amount of power. And we can say like, okay, there's the power budget for this node specifically, even if it is really high, we know that there is a cap. Wow, that rolled bad. That rolled real bad. That's okay. The ring, get the ring, get the ring. That sure was a close call. Okay, we need to put this one, Weaver Tree. Did I not put red ring in here? Am I that insane? Twin jewelry? Or jewelry? Or jewelry? Armor or weapon, yes. Armor, jewelry. Jewelry, there we go. Oh. All right. There's something in my eye. It hurts. I don't know what to do about it. We'll be fine. All right. Next question. Do we have a question here? A little slow today. That's okay. I understand. My costume's not crazy enough. I get it. I do. Hey, we got our first thing of the day. We got a sub. Tom Blah Live? Tom Blah Live? So hard without the capitalization. Don't know if it's like Tomb or Tom. Tombla? Tombla Live! Appreciate you. Thank you very much. I apologize for butchering your name. Mike, have ye thought about releasing videos more often, 2 or 3 times a week? At least small ones to better promote advertising for the game. I mean, I'm sure that this is more of a question for the social team than me per se. I think there's probably a reason why we don't do a lot of frequent videos when we're sort of in like a bit of a lull, like in between seasons. I think likely it's just that there's only so much content to really do in videos, and having those be focused around, you know, when we're releasing content is more advantageous for marketing purposes. But knowing like nothing about it, not sure. And I just threw that red ring. There it is. It gets in the good tab. Even though we're not gonna wear it. I can almost go try Aberoth here. I feel like we're getting close. Yeah? Let's give this boss a kill and see if we can get a slightly better health regen affix off of it. All right, how come skill sigils got delayed, maybe even canceled? It seems like something a lot of people were looking forward to, despite us having pretty much no information regarding them. Was a technical issue or something else? Yeah, so the plan we had for season 4, like what is this, like a year? This was in at 1.0 when we released this, because we said or 1.1 was 1.1 was just coming out when we released the plan, or just come out or something like that. Where we first mentioned skill sigils. So it's been quite a while. Nothing from that roadmap happened in the order it was supposed to. That roadmap had it in. So like that roadmap was completely wrong about the order of everything. Just to be clear. So in a 0% success rate in order predictions on that roadmap, skill sigils fits in very nicely. God damn. Probably can't do Aberoth if we can't even beat Lagan. Oh, that's frustrating. So I'm gonna blame it on the movement speed. Even though it's not the movement speed at all, it's entirely my fault. I can't really talk about skill sigils at all. I don't have any information for you on it. The original plan for it was wildly ambitious. And you know I'm not one to shy away from something wildly ambitious, so we'll see what happens. You want a teaser? I only have one today. Actually, I have 2 technically. Actually 3 technically, if you think about it. But here, I'll give you a visual one. Here he goes, my penance for failing you miserably. this will be some new MTX coming. Some new cosmetics. I don't know what part of it this is. If this is like a standalone thing, or part of a pack, or part of a Twitch drop, or anything like. I don't know what it is. I was trying to find more of a ready helmet, but the only one that was there that like fit better, that like worked better, like I couldn't get it on my head, and it was like really heavy rubber. I'm like, this is gonna be so heavy for the stream. Can't do it. All right. Do you have an idea of how to bring echo modifiers for harder echoes but better loot? Like corruption? This is asking you specifically, not expecting it to actually happen, or official LE plans. So like I get what you mean. Is you want to be able to okay, well we'll talk about this when we get out of here, I think. But I think essentially what you're asking for is like the equivalent of map mods in PoE, right? Where the individual maps that you put in have like, oh, this one does more elemental damage to you, and it gives you better loot. And we do have that. We had it more extreme before. It was like they were harder hitting mods, which were like significantly more damage. And significantly more specific, like buffs and like risk and reward sort of thing, and they did more to it. We got a lot of feedback that it was too extreme, it was too much. There was too much risk, and for what you were getting out of it, like it was just the difference between individual echoes and how scary they were was too big. So you could have situations where even a 300 corruption echo might actually be more dangerous than a 1000 corruption echo, because the mod on it was so extreme. And so we got a lot of really negative feedback around that. So we rolled it back a bunch, so that corruption is the primary driving factor on how difficult it is, which gives you exactly what you're asking for here, is increased risk, better loot, you know? Not confirm. We're gonna find a good option here. Oh yeah, let's do this. Why not? Why not? Move the teaser mic. Yeah, that's a good idea. My bad. I set it up to move, and I did not move it. Now, if you see, that was 3 of 3. Alright, hey Mike, I got this funny idea about a new unique that'll turn all minion stats on other items and passives into skills into the player power instead. Yeah, yeah, we've been down this rabbit hole before. It doesn't work, spoiler alert. What's your opinion about this idea and its feasibility? As you may have noticed, I don't minion at all. Yeah, so there's certain things that we give minions because they are... like, and certain stats we can give minions because the way that their stats scale is very different than the way player stats scale. So, for example, a player ability, like let's look at like swipe or harvest or yeah, Flay's in the game. Flay. Or I'm like, am I gonna spoil something by saying this name? No, Flay's in the game. Great. You know, like all these abilities that these melee abilities, their base damage is like 1, or it's usually 2 actually. So like swipe's base damage is 2 physical, and but if we're putting swipe on a like that same attack on a bear, let's say, the base damage is probably gonna be closer to 40 or 50. And so there's a lot of stats that scale very differently on minions and players, and having them show up on having the minion stats show up on as player stats, like it converted to player stats, would be a very significant power boost for a few stats, like really wildly overpowered for a few stats. Mostly defensive stats, actually. Like we'll give minions crazy amounts of health and just be like, here you go, here's a ton of health, and a ton of defenses, just because we feel like it, sort of thing. I don't really know why I'm in here. We finished the echo already, and if we're gonna start converting all those into player stats, we can't do a straight just the X% of them, because then there's certain ones, in order to make the highest power, like, so if we're gonna say like there's like each one of these is a different stat, and like this is the like health, I don't know which one it is, but let's call it health, is like crazy high, or like minion dodge rating or something is probably like weirdly high. And so if we were to say this, like, okay, they're all like, you get 50% of them, because we have to nerf this one down to the point where it's like low enough that it actually makes sense. These ones down here that would make sense anyways, maybe even be too weak on the minion. Maybe they need to be like, maybe the player's stats version of these same things looks more like this, you know? The ones that show up at the bottom, like these stats down here, they get cut in half so that they're only actually giving this much, become completely pointless when you're looking at them versus the player stat version of them. So having them, because they don't scale the same way on minions and players, we can't just give the player a percentage of those stats and have it make sense. We can we can do it the other direction onto minions, because it's a lot less dangerous for making things broken overpowered, which is why you see things like the Forge Guard works, basically. We're gonna try this again. We're not gonna do the Harbinger though. I think there's a version of it where like you could put like specific stats. So you could say like you gain X% of your minion movement speed, or you gain X% of your minion damage, sort of thing. I think you can do things like the specific stats, like because it scale in a specific way. But just doing all of them wholesale doesn't really work too well. It is a really cool idea, and the reason I'm able to talk about it so much is because we've considered it quite heavily, because it is a good idea, I think. But a big reason why oh my goodness. Jesus Christ. I don't know how that didn't hit me. But we are not going to argue it. Oh, it's a big mana one. We need that. It's such a low roll on that. 2 LP Exanguinus. We'll take it. Okay, Bone Climber. None of these have anything rolled on them, so we can slap one of them in a whatchamacallit if we want. It's a cool item. All right. that went okay. I mean, I feel like we're close to trying Aberoth, but not Uberoth. Ugh. Can you share anything about dyes and transmogs coming? I don't think the system is ready for season 4. As far as I know, I haven't seen anything for it. Oh yeah, so we were talking about earlier about the various like modifiers. So like here, player modifiers. So increase. So this one specifically is you get increased experience and increased item rarity for this, and the enemies they have a chance to slow on hit. So this is that same stat for like, okay, enemies get a mod, you get a gear buff that happens in here that we do. So like the way you pick that is like you've got a lot to pick from here. Quite often the reward that is offered here sort of like outweighs the danger from these. Like the specific rewards, so people kind of just ignore that stat for the most part, or there's like a couple they'll avoid if it's like you have to consistently hit in order for your build to function, because you need a certain amount of mana generation from hits or something like that. Then you avoid ones that say dodge, so you make sure you keep having your hits. Things like that I think add a little bit of strategy to it. I really liked it more when there was more of a danger strategy to it, but players weren't reading that part. It was kind of just going unnoticed, and people were just being like, why is this echo so difficult? And it's like, well, because you picked a mod that makes it horrible for your character. So yeah, so it just made it way harder. Was the MTX teaser also teasing the season 4 theme? I don't think so. No. We had to go look at what it looked like for a second. Mike, now when we have the sky chains and the sky temple areas, can we expect a cosmos area? Expect might be a strong word. It's definitely on the table, but I haven't seen one, so I don't expect it yet. I don't really expect it until I've seen it. So sad. The skin, the cosmetic skin for the golems makes it look like the enemies they're fighting their own kind. Right. I've always been curious why the boss shield on Uber Aberoth has no decay. It should. If the boss shield is just a set amount you have to damage through, why not just add it to the Uber's total HP? It probably has a long delay time for it to start decaying, and because it's so huge, it probably takes a while to get going and ramp up. But as far as I know, it should be decaying. If you're doing like enough damage to, like, if you have a defensive build that can handle not attacking it, I would recommend, if someone can, to test it and try it and see if it doesn't decay at all. But it really should be. If it's not, it's a bug. If it's not decaying at all, I would call that a bug. I would report it. Because yeah, the whole point of the system requires it to decay. Because you're absolutely right. Like if there was no decay, it would be the same. It's not quite the same, but it's very, very similar to just adding to the HP pool. The reason it's not quite the same, actually, it's because of effects that say, like, so at high health or above half health, things like that, or low life. So it takes longer to get actually down to low life, or It's about it, really. But having it decay itself is the important part. So I guess culling's another part of it. If the culling percentage was above the final ward mark, then it could be different as well. But I don't think that ever happens because the final ward mark should never go below, I think it's 20%, and I think the culling never goes above, I want to say 18%. Not sure on that. 3 LP in there, that's cool. Don't see those very often on just about anything. At least I don't. All right. Should we try Abroth and see how hard we get slapped in the face? It'd be pretty hard. Am I a prehistoric ladybug? No, I'm a couple things. I'm a amalgam. But I could just say that probably, and it would, work fine. All right. Am I allowed to tease the next season with a single word? I don't think I should really. I'd love to. This is the problem with doing this. So I would absolutely love to. I think that there's a very high likelihood that I will either be so cryptic that even after knowing it, you'd be looking at me like I was crazy, or so spot on that it would kind of just spoil things I'm not supposed to spoil. And I'm kind of scared of either one of those things. Okay, let's try Abroth. Let's see what happens. Right? What's the worst that could happen? We die. No. That hasn't happened ever before on this show. In the last 10 minutes. Okay. We got 15 keys. That's so many. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna get on this guy. Yeah, it's on Gorilla. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay, in order for this to be a successful attempt, Gorilla has to survive. I think that's the key takeaway here. All right. Do you have any questions I can talk to while this is happening? It's been a while since I've done actual proper attempts at Abroth at all. The last time I even tried to fight Abroth with a real character, and actually tried to win, was last season when we did it. So prepare for me to just die to the first initial slam. We're also so sluggishly slow. Kind of want to take one of those hits and see if we can survive it. Yep. Okay. All right. Use our mana up. Let it recharge for a while. The question there about high DR transitions for boss fights. Yes, that is the sort of thing we have considered. I think sometimes it can feel a little frustrating when you're sort of seemingly like just unable to attack the boss. It's part of the reason why we've opted for more of a like specific version of it with the ward. Okay, we've got the part that always messes me up coming up here. I even called it. I'm like, this is the part that always messes me up. I always jump into the center like an idiot. Exactsies. Oh my god. Gorilla. No, it's Gorilla again. It's just always the first one. Am I crazy? Do I just not know how that system works? I want to try it again. We were close. Beginner mistake. You're absolutely right. Okay. Yeah, high damage reduction transition phases. Yeah, we were talking about that. That's I think, yeah, I really like things like that, and we do have things like that. So there's Herod has puts up a shield, and it transitions into a new phase where enemies pop out and you gotta fight them. Then enough time passes and the shield drops and that sort of stuff. So like yeah, there's different strategies we've tried and different things we've used to varying degrees of success and failure, I think. Let's just go again. One more mage, come on, one more mage. There we go. And yeah, I think there's room for more creative approaches to transitions for boss fights and situations where we can get mechanics sort of through without being too heavy-handed on exactly why we're forcing them to happen. Makes any sense? All right. Intro down. Have you considered adding a Dilophosaurus into the summoning pool? I don't know what that is. Judging by the technical name of it, I feel that it's probably something similar to what I'm wearing on my head is likely the intention there. We've considered adding lots of different things into the pool. I think it's more likely that we'll keep adding more generally either like recognizable real things or very clearly fantasy things. So like something either being like squarely rooted in a commonly recognizable power fantasy is great, like a T-Rex. Awesome. It's huge, it's strong, everyone grows up knowing what not everyone, most people grow up knowing what a T-Rex is. And it's super cool. I think that's the sort of thing that we generally will continue to add if it's going to be a real world thing, something that it's like something you can point to and say like, oh, that's sweet, because it's something that's easily recognizable. I think there's and then the other half of that is things that are like very clearly not real. Things that are like really obviously like just a pure fantasy element, something that we created for the game. And something that's real but unrecognizable kind of feels like a bit of both in a way, in a weird way. I feel so slow. I feel so slow. No! 43 damage. Oh, come on. I need more health. Gotta happen. We need more defenses. Oh, that's frustrating. We're gonna get a little more. We're gonna get a little more. It's gotta happen. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. I need a touch more practice. Been a while. We need a better roll here. We need to get our void res somewhere else. We need to replace our void res blessing. I need to improve the damage output of my minions by changing their specializations, which I know is not ideal. I think I should probably be switching back to the other amulet. Like, there's a few things that I need to do. I can get a better weapon on. I can get a better ring on. We'll get there. Alright. Would it be possible to have boss HP ward to show the flat amount versus the current percentage amount shown? It is technically possible. I'm not sure what the let's turn this question back around. Why? Why do you want to see that? What's the advantage there? I think I know what the answer is. It's what I think it is. The answer is no. But if it's something else, maybe. My wings are falling. I need to pay attention to them a little better. There we are. Last time I did wings, I had like a piece of cardboard attached to my back that was holding the wings in place. This is a tiny piece of Velcro. And the helmet is like pushing them out of the way. Thanks, Chubbs2287 for the sub. We appreciate you. Or Child's Play appreciates you. Because getting kids hooked on video games is... No. they do other stuff. Don't worry. Tight. Oh, give me all those drops. I want those drops. Yes, good. Are you bringing back or changing Meteor back to be able to change its elemental damage type? It has that, doesn't it? Then we keep reading the question. Right now, the only way is a set item to lightning. Yes, okay, yeah. And with set items, you can't get them with LPs, so you are weaker. Any thoughts on being able to do cold damage meteor? Yeah, so cold damage meteor is called Comet, just in general. I don't think we've ever had cold meteor in the game, have we? Am I wrong here? Am I crazy? Am I crazy? I hope I'm not crazy. I think the only way to change it has always been Velatra set, right? We don't even have one right now. But you can... it's not the only way to do it now anymore, because you can create your own set item on a weapon. So you can make... you can do an exalted weapon and slap it on there. So it's much more versatile than it was before to get that. Yeah. I think like cold damage meteor is... It's possible. I don't know where that fits in. I think it is something that's very unlikely to just sit on like a skill tree. I think it would have to come with an item. I think it eats too much into Glacier's position in the like the skill world. And so I'd be really hesitant to add it in. Throwing attack speed, not melee attack speed. Yeah, I'd be really hesitant. I think because I think it infringes too much on Glacier in general. But yeah, it's not impossible. But yes, if you haven't tried doing it with a custom set item on an Exalted yet, give that a shot, because it is much more versatile now. All right, one serious question. Have there been not serious ones before this? Come on. Do you think it's healthy for one class archetype to have a thing to enable basically all builds for that general class? Yes, with a big asterisk beside that as well. I think it's one of those things that works but doesn't always work. And so you can't really do that with every single class. So an example of a situation where that I think that works is Falconer. Falconer does that really well. The every ability in the Falconer's mastery section, so like all of the Falconer abilities that are like in this section, not the rest of the tree, but all of them that are here, assume you have Falcon on your bar. They all can function without Falcon on your bar in some way. There's a way to do it for all of them, but the vast majority of them are kind of assuming that you've got Falcon on your bar, sort of thing. And I think that really is I think it's really done well personally. So yes, it is healthy in that situation. However, I think there are ways that it can be unhealthy. And I think an example of a way that it was unhealthy that we actually removed from the game was volatile reversal. So volatile reversal was so powerful as just like a buff spell, and fits so intrinsically in with Void Knight's theming that pretty well every Void Knight and almost every Sentinel just in general had volatile reversal on their bar. And it was not healthy for that class. So we reworked volatile reversal the way it functions. And I think it's much better now. Still not perfect, but much better. And yeah, so I think there's like, it can be, if it's done right, and if the situation arises where it's not, we try and fix that. Either by fixing the mechanics so that it is done right, or by removing it. We go this way, probably. We'll find out. Attunement shard! I don't know why I went get it. It's useless for me. All right. Players reply. Oh yes, great. HP ward, flat amount shown. The reason, wonderful. Thank you for the reply. The flat numbers versus the percent amount for me would be for measuring build strength. Yes, that's what I thought. And impact of current damage, as well as a visual display of how much corruption has boosted the boss. See a 100 corruption boss and a 1000 corruption boss have the same shown number feels empty. I'd personally like to see a 100 corruption boss go from 1 million HP to 100 million HP. This is actually a good reason. At 1000, kind of adding weight to the effect, I guess. So yes, that second half of your reasoning I think is a great reason. First half I think is actually a reason not to do it. So half and half, they're working against each other. But yeah, I think I think you make a good point in the scale of the challenge being more visible as you're increasing your corruption is a really good reason to do it. And if you want to see it maybe happen, go put that in the suggestions channel on our Discord or forums, and cite the reason that of scaling the seeing a visual representation of the difficulty change based on corruption scaling. I think that would be the best way to make that suggestion. I don't want to say it's going to happen or anything like that, but if you want the best chance of it, that would be the best way. Do not say the first part about being able to measure build strength. That will actually work against you. Hey Mike, have you guys thought about doing water and wind based skills? Yeah, we already have some. Water's a really interesting element to build into the theming for the different elements we have here. So water sometimes in games gets represented as cold and sometimes as physical. Sometimes as both. Because cold is really themed more around ice and snow and winter. But water's not really that. Water's kind of what winter like does to water, is cold. But water itself doesn't really end up being cold that much. I think if we do more water themed stuff, and I think the water themed stuff we do have is cold, and I think if we did more water themed stuff, it will be cold themed, likely not physical. I think that having what's something where something can do it. Yeah, here's a funny one. So the wind theme, the primary wind theme thing that comes to mind is tornado on Primalist, Shaman, Druid more than and also I guess but yeah, so tornado, you could do a cold conversion for tornado that was like a water spout. I think that'd be sweet. Give me room for like an ailment that's just soaking wet and you take more lightning damage. The fang, the claw. I just jumped into my flaylich. And I really like how I use Flay for high mobility to clear trash. Then I switch to a higher DPS skill for bosses. Is that a design we're going to see more of? I don't know if we'll see much more of specifically that. Sorry. I really like the idea that there are multiple skills on your bar that are used in different situations, and you have to pick the best skill for the situation you're in. I love that idea. That's like one of the key things that I will. If you see nodes on skill trees that encourage you to like that make a skill kind of niche in what it can do, the way it can function, but really much more powerful at that specific function, that's likely me trying to encourage that type of a behavior. So yes, I love that sort of stuff personally, and I do try and slip those types of things in when I can. I think it's best when it's a little bit less extreme of a separation, is what you're describing there. So like, I really like it in situations where when you're fighting a boss and there's different moments in that boss fight where you're using different abilities because you're in different situations. That's what I'm really trying to strive for myself. Because I think it's more interesting in a fight where you're saying like you're as you're learning the fight, you spend the first bit of learning the fight in how do I optimize around the things it's doing. How do I survive? So like you get into a fight with Aberoth, and you're probably not optimizing your own DPS very much. At least I know I'm not. I mean, this build's a lot easier because it's minions and they're doing most of the damage for me, sort of thing. But I'm kind of just running around trying not to die from the abilities and getting hits where I can. And then as you become familiar with the boss, as you become familiar with the mechanics, as certain pieces of that fight become second nature, and it becomes more of a like almost like a routine where you're fighting this boss and you're like, okay, well, you know, like this is gonna happen, he's gonna do this, then he's gonna do this, then he's gonna do this, and you don't have to like react to what he's doing, you get to prepare for what he's doing, and then you can optimize your own damage output patterns after that, and that's when you start getting into, okay, well, I've got this attack that's better in this situation because I've noticed that he's got so many stacks of this debuff on him, and that means this ability is going to do more damage. And then like, oh, but this I'm like opening up the combo to start now, so I have to start with this ability. And having those different situations are like, I'm far away, so I have to use this ability. I'm close in, so I have to use this ability. Certain situational factors in the boss fight that means that using different abilities is more optimal for your damage output, I think is really interesting. I think that's another layer of gameplay that I think is fun personally. Not everyone agrees that that's fun, which is why we don't put it in every situation, every ability. But I think you can really easily reward players for an additional level of mastery on their skills, like player mastery, not like masteries, where they're able to optimize the abilities they're using by the situations they're in at runtime. I don't know, like in the fight, like while you're doing it. All right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, sometimes I like to provide like a good window into our development process. But you know, sometimes if I reveal a little too much, it could be a bad omen. All right, do you think other classes besides... Oh no, that tags, it's covering. Yes, okay, good, thank you. Classes besides Sentinel have a must-have skill, and what are those? How are you planning to address those? Perhaps spread the power in general. Sentinel has a few of those must skills even after Volatile Reversal rework, which was great. Yeah, I think that there's I haven't played a Sentinel this season. I'm just realizing that right now. Yeah, Paladin having Holy Aura. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Paladins having Holy Auras, a good example, I think, where that's fine, I think. I think the reason why VR was such an issue is because of the gameplay pattern that it forces upon you. That's kind of awkward and less I don't know how to say it. It just doesn't flow as well for a lot of players. Holy Aura, on the other hand, it's not like warping you backwards where you were before, sort of thing. So I think it's much less of a problem. And I think we do try to give players reasons not to use Holy Aura. But I'd be surprised if there's many Paladins on this list without it. I think that's fine for the most part. What else is probably on here? Yeah, it's kind of the like sigils of hope, symbols of hope. Symbols of hope is probably the other one there. Probably less ideal it's on there, but it's kind of for the same reason. Part of like that was a really bad sample size for me to do, and like just because I'm seeing the most popular option there doesn't necessarily mean that's indicative of what every build is doing. So like the most powerful build uses that, but every build might not use that. I think that's something that can get, if we're looking at this like must-have skill topic, I think that's something that can sort of like muddle the data a little bit. So if you look at all of the let's look like the top 20,000 paladins on the ladder or whatever, you'll start to get into people that are much lower power builds. And if we had like a corruption ladder, that'd probably be a more accurate way to look at it. But you start to see people that are in lower power builds because they won't all be running the absolute most meta build at the very top. And so I think you can't really look at the absolute value of like the total number of players using each skill. I don't think that gives a good representation of the like requiredness, like the must-havedness. I don't know how to pronounce how to say this, but of individual abilities or mechanics, because you are looking at all of the because the number of people playing each build is going to skew heavily towards the most powerful build, and you're probably using all the same skills in the most powerful build. That doesn't mean it's not a problem. It just means that you kind of have to account for that noise in the data when you're trying to figure out where the problem skills actually lie. And I think a lot of it comes down to like player feedback and just feel in general. So like if people are like sending like I feel like I have to use this ability and I don't want to use this ability, I think that's where it's a problem. If people are like, I feel like I have to use this ability, but it's really fun and I like it, it's probably not a problem. Or if it is, it's much less of a problem. Okay. We're doing on time. We got 20 minutes left. Would we ever see boss elemental affinity apply more to just type of damage done? General example of what I'm talking about would be an ice boss would take by default extra damage from the opposing element fire and receive less damage taken from the same type, so ice damage, to an ice boss would be less damage. Ice damage, yeah. So yeah, like logical damage reductions for enemies in boss form. So like yeah. I think that's possible, and we do that sometimes. You know, it will say it underneath, like this guy says nearby allies take much less damage. It would say underneath it, and some champions do say that, where they'll be like takes less ice damage sort of thing. But we don't do it unless it's written down. So this is resist fire damage right there because it's a fire enemy. We don't do it very often, and we always say it when we do it, because there's no expectation of a variety of resistances for elemental types on each enemy, which I think is fine. I don't want to slap in here. Why not? Why not? I almost hit banish after that. Just throw away some gloves. You don't have Dreadshade up. That chest needs to drop items out of it faster. Yeah, I got on the gorilla. Are they all just gorilla in this form? Is that part of the Oh my gosh, that's part of the MTX. I'm an idiot. Isn't it? Yeah. I didn't realize it changed the name. Well, that's disappointing. I thought I was special. It's okay. It's okay. All right. Do you think at any point we'll be able to equip more than one T8 affix at once? Maybe drop a plus crafted option, perhaps? I doubt it. This is the thing. Ever's a long time, so maybe. You never know. A key part of the design for them is that there's only one, and having that restriction, I think, is really important to like keep things interesting. So I really hope not, but I never like closing the door completely on things. I'd be surprised. I will, and I'm sorry if you want this, but I will actively like work not to have that happen. Which, if you want, I know it sucks, but. And you know, power creep's a thing, so who knows what'll happen in a year from now. All right. Next question. First of all, this is my favorite game so far. Well, that is so lovely to hear. Thank you. We have already made this game unique in a lot of ways. I'm not sure if this is already done with other games, but I know that weapon switching is a thing. What if we make gear, skill, idols, and blessing switching? That way maybe it would be fun since you are like switching builds in different situations. Yeah, so there's a couple things here. The weapon switching is something that we actually did have for a while. I don't know if I ever actually made it out the door. I have implemented weapon switching before because I wanted it so bad, and I was like, I'm just gonna put it in the game, and like make a pull request for it and be like, it's done. You can't make an argument of that it'll take too long to do because I just already did it in my spare time. So can we put it in, please? It didn't work. It got denied. There's no weapon switching, unfortunately. And it's kind of specifically for the reason you've suggested it being something that you'd want to have, unfortunately. The idea of making a build that is like having that push and pull of a build's versatility versus power is part of what makes a build crafting process interesting. So being able to say, hey, this build is incredibly powerful at pushing this button or whatever, and this other build is incredibly powerful at pushing this button, but this third build is pretty darn good at doing both of them, but not as good as doing either of them, sort of thing. And that idea of how important is versatility versus power in a build crafting situation, I think is part of what makes a build interesting in its variety. And I think that having too much on the fly quick switching, so it's when you get this far, we like gear, skills, idols, blessing switching, that sort of thing. It's basically the armory system in Diablo 3, where you can just be like, you no longer have a like, this is my bone golem, like skill, my golem mage, necromancer. This just becomes my acolyte, and my acolyte can be anything, which I think takes away a lot of the, like, one of the core ideas we had when we were originally starting this project, which was the power of like a class fantasy and that connection to your character. And every time we make that, every time we add a little bit more flexibility in build switching, every time we say like, okay, we're now letting you respec your passives, okay, we're now letting you respec your blessings, like, because you could, like, now you can just go to someone in End of Time and like just pick up different blessings. You don't have to go back into there and like do the content to get them again. You know, like as soon as we add these more options, okay, now you can change your mastery to a different mastery. You know, every time we add another little piece of these things, to make it a little bit easier to switch your character, it takes away a little tiny little extra piece of that connection to the character as a specific character instead of a general character. Just gets eroded a little bit here, a little bit there as we go over and over again. And that's something we're trying to avoid doing if we can. Because this is like ultimately this is rooted in like a role-playing game where you're playing a character, and like this specific character, you know, like she grew as a character through the campaign, becoming more powerful in her ability to raise the dead, and her mastery over golems when she found this armor that gave her the ability to summon even more golems than normal. And you know, like that story that goes with it, and like suddenly now has a T-Rex partner because of this relic she found, and that evolution and progress at becoming the character that she is now, I think is interesting and ties you to that character a little bit, and brings like increased meaning and feeling to that character. And so you know, like next season I may try a different class, or even a different character in the same class, and just pick different things, and you get a different feeling and a different connection to that new character. And I think that's interesting and important. And every time we make it a little bit easier to respect your character, which is also important, because you know it's not a lot of fun having to start from scratch again just because you misclicked one time. Cough the one thing I hated about the original Diablo 2, before they added in respect tokens. And you know, it's just that at the same time there was this real connection to this character, because you know, you couldn't make a mistake, you couldn't change anything, it was the way it was the first time you picked it, and like there was something kind of cool about that in a way. And it's a very fine line to walk to conveying that connection to your character while still having the flexibility to remain fun in a system that's so complex where you can make mistakes that will make your character do less damage and be less powerful, and have a lower maximum potential if you make certain decisions. Oh, thirsty there. This water bottle is great. It's huge. I love it. First of all, I said this. Hi, Mike. Hello. As EHG continues to expand its team, what parts of the game will we likely see the impact of additional help, or are they focused more on future content we haven't seen yet? It's a lot of it's focused on future content right now. Like a lot of the roles we're spinning up right now are for like starting design work on the expansions, starting design work on just like future seasons, you know, things like that. Like just getting new content pipelines spun up so we can do more faster later. Is a lot of what's happening right now. I want this idol. There's room. Found it. At the same time, though, it does mean that the people who are working on like stuff that's like coming imminently, not imminently, but next, are able to focus on what's coming next instead of also having to work on what's coming after that at the same time. That's a big thing in the past, is that we'd be like, all right, we're gonna like have a design meeting for like the specific uniques that are coming next season, and then at the same time, like later that day, we'd have a design meeting for like maybe the individual maybe like the individual the next mechanic coming in the season, like after that sort of thing. And jumping around all the time, it gets confusing sometimes. Like right now I'm almost exclusively, not completely exclusively, but almost exclusively working on one specific point in the game, like one specific mechanic or feature, I guess you could say. And it helps to stay focused on that and not have to bounce around. Oh, that was close. That was close. Let me teleport right back into it. So good at this. Don't even worry. Don't even worry. Okay, let's empty out our equipment instead of just carrying around a bunch of garbage we don't need. Idols. We actually do need some idols right now. Have you thought about giving each subclass an elite skill that's on the bar at all times? Yes, we have. We almost did that. We came very close to it. The skill that goes here, we came very close to being that. Evade came very close to being that as well. It came very close to being a fixed ability for each class instead of a generic ability for all classes. All right, but that can be heavily customized via gameplay unlocks. For example, necromancers could gather organs via quests to create a custom minion that can be ranged or melee with support, DPS, tank stuff. I mean, like that's basically just the skill trees that we already have, right? With extra steps. Could also be a permanent minion or a very strong one with cooldown based on what organs used. Yeah, I like that's a really cool idea. The reason why we didn't do something like that, where it was without the idea of having like specific side quests you have to go do in order to like build up that skill, we considered that effectively the same sort of mechanic where you'd have one fixed ability for every class, and like the mastery ability kind of became that where it's like saying, hey, this is a really good idea to have this in your character arsenal, but you don't have to. There's ways to play without it. Which is why I'm not surprised that Falconers are basically all have Falcon on the bar. Paladins basically all have Holy Aura on their bar. You know, things like that. And where's I going with this? Yeah, so I think part of the reason why we didn't force it on your bar was just because there's already only 5 buttons there, and locking one of them down to where it's now you can only pick 4 of them. It just seemed a little too restrictive. And we don't want to add a 6th ability. Show us this. 6th permanent ability. I think having class-specific side quests that unlock certain features is a really cool function. I still remember, but I also think that it's quite telling that the story I'm about to tell was removed from the game, from WoW story here coming. So like back in, I don't know when it changed because I stopped playing, but in like leveling through Burning Crusade, I hit max level in Burning Crusade, which I want to say was 70. The day that Wrath came out, or day before Wrath came out. It was the weekend before or something. Like I hit it on like the Saturday, tried to do some raids that weekend, and then it came, and then Wrath came out on Tuesday or something like that. So it was like within at most 4 days of hitting max level in Burning Crusade, Wrath came out for me. So it was pretty late to the party from Burning Crusade. But as you're leveling a Warlock, which is what I was playing, you have this huge big side quest, actually series of side quests that that allow you to unlock certain abilities. So in WoW as a Warlock, you have one minion that you always have with you. This is why I remember this, because basically the suggestion you're talking about, where you have to go collect a whole bunch of stuff, and you get to pick a minion based on which side quest you complete, and you have to so you either get like an imp or a voidwalker or a fell beast or a fell beast Felguard. Ooh, shoot, I should know this. Point is, there's a series of different minions, and you have to go through a pretty lengthy side quest to unlock each one. Felguard, I was right, sweet. And you have to, it's the same for your mount as well. Warlock's also got a free mount, which is a huge deal back then. And like it was a pretty long side quest to, is it not Felguard? Oops. Where you had to go through all of the, oh, it is, okay. Where you had to go through this huge long side quest to unlock your mount and everything like that. And like I still remember the like that, like going through that quest and doing that whole thing and that whole experience, and it was interesting and meaningful and fun. But at the same time, if I had to go back through that quest every time I wanted to change which one it was, that would be excruciating. And I can see why it was removed from the game as well. I'm pretty sure it was removed. You know, because people like to be able to change to whatever like the meta build is, and I don't think taking the ability to change away is a good thing. But I think having it be free does take away from like the process a little bit. There's a happy medium there, and I think that's what we're aiming for. We've got some lizards spawning. Da 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 da. All right. All right. Another question here. Why do we only have HP potions? I see you are running out of mana. Yeah. So we use mana as a primary balancing mechanic for abilities. So when and we use it as a balancing mechanic for noise budget as well. So if there's an ability that's going to show up that's, or like an effect that you want to put onto a node, onto a skill that's like really, really powerful, it's probably going to have like a mana cost that comes with it, or a cooldown cost that comes with it usually. But we try and focus around mana much more than cooldown if we can, because we think it's sort of like, we think it's a more interesting mechanic to build around and play around. Cooldowns as the primary balancing mechanic for frequency of use and of ability end up often with a rotation system where you're like, okay, I press this one, then I press this one, then I press this one. And that's fine. But we think it's a little bit more interesting if you have to kind of, if this kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier about adapting to the situation you're in and using the ability that makes the most sense in the situation you're in, and having to say like, okay, I'm going to restrain myself here to, I'm going to use it like 3 times because that's what I have the mana for, and then I know after 3 uses I'm going to have to I'm going to move away, or something like that. I'm going to wait for it to recharge for a bit. We do kind of in a roundabout way have mana potions in the game. There are certain effects you can get which will give you mana back on potion use, usually on a belt. And like you can build like mana generation through belts basically, or and through potions. And one of my buddies is using golems on a lich specifically to for mana generation. Through the belt mod and through like pebbles set being crafted onto an item, which causes the golems to generate. So he's using Aaron's Will to get more golems, and then pebbles set just the 2-piece in order to generate potions automatically, which generate mana, and it works great. It's sweet. Do I even have it? Can I show you what this she said is? Pebbles? Yeah, pebbles. There it is. 5% chance to replenish 1 potion when bone golem hits an enemy. All right. We are coming up against the end of the stream here. And we've finished the questions. It was an easy to keep up with questions. Easy. It's probably Halloween, all that stuff. My bug outfit. I'll admit I was trying to find a Bumblebee outfit again, and I could not find a Bumblebee outfit. And in the 2 hours of looking that I did, and the 10 minutes of prep before stream that I did to put this together. But I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for coming, everyone. I hope you had fun. I know I did. I will be back same time, same place next week. If I failed to answer your question today, I apologize. It was not intentional. If you'd like more explanation on it or expand on it or continue talking about it or just ask it again, please feel free to head on over to our Discord. We would Ask the Devs channel there, where I'd be happy to answer your questions there. Also, lots of community members that are very active and great at answering questions too. Yeah, that'll just about do it for me here. Appreciate y'all for coming out. I heard Aaron was streaming with his he's off right now. That's okay. Someone's got to tag first time streaming. Let's go say hi. Let's go see what they're doing. Why not, right? Aaron is on. He's not showing up in the category for last Epoch. Oh, he's on PoE, that's why. Well, I'm not going to if he's not streaming our game. Oh, the new league came out today. Of course it did. Oh, I knew that. Someone invited me to join their starting team, and I was like, no, I'm streaming. This is the problem. Oh, I've totally forgot about it. Okay, have a good day, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.